Capricorn, there's something ancient waking up inside you. It's not a coincidence that you're watching this right now. There's a silent agreement between you and the universe written long before you were born. And that agreement just activated. This isn't just another Monday. It's not just another week. This is the turning point the stars have kept hidden from everyone but you. For years, you've built in the dark, worked through storms, carried the weight of legacies on your back without recognition. You thought the silence meant you were forgotten. But no, you were being prepared. And now, the doors of reality are listening. They wait for your voice, not your pain. They obey your will, not your suffering. Today marks the end of the old code. The version of you that endured is stepping aside to make way for the one who commands. So let me ask you plainly, are you ready to rule? Because this is not just a video. This is the summoning. And by the end of it, you won't just remember who you are. You'll become it. Part 1. The old code is broken. Why power now comes from words, not work. For so long, Capricorn, you followed the ancient rule carved into your bones. If I work harder than everyone else, life will eventually reward me. And so you did. While others slept, you planned. While others chased comfort, you chased purpose. You became a quiet architect of empires no one noticed. Because you were never building for applause. You were building for impact. But now, the system has changed. And your old map no longer leads to the destination. This week, the universe has updated the operating system of your reality. You are no longer climbing the mountain. You are the mountain. And mountains don't move by force. They move by frequency. That frequency is now carried by one thing alone. Your words. You see, Capricorn, you've mastered pain. You've mastered patience. But you've hidden your true will behind silence. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that speaking your desires was selfish. That asking for more was greedy. That being bold with your vision was dangerous. So instead, you became quiet, dutiful, efficient, invisible. But here's the cosmic secret. The longer you stay silent about your purpose, the longer it stays silent about you. You are entering a reality where the spoken word is the trigger for manifestation. Not effort, not struggle, not time. A single sentence spoken with clarity now carries more power than a decade of quiet sacrifice. The universe no longer rewards exhaustion. It rewards alignment. And alignment begins with declaration. Let's be real, this isn't easy for you. Capricorns don't ask for things. You earn them. You don't demand attention. You deserve it, quietly. But that humility, while noble, is no longer useful. Humility in the wrong season becomes hesitation. And hesitation becomes self-sabotage. This is not the time to shrink. This is the time to speak. So today, I challenge you. Pick one word. Just one. Not a wish. Not a maybe. But the true name of the life you are ready to receive. Say it out loud. Write it. Claim it. That one word becomes the axis around which your new world will rotate. Life lesson from Part 1. Capricorn, the world doesn't change because you work hard. It changes because you finally decide to speak with power. Silence built your strength, but now, only your voice can build your kingdom. Part 2, Monday. The ritual of receiving. Break the loner instinct. Capricorn, today marks the beginning of a powerful internal shift. Not in what you do, but in what you allow. Because here's the truth. You've become so good at carrying everything alone, that even when help appears, you quietly move it aside. You don't trust easy. You've been burned before. You've been abandoned in the middle of projects, betrayed halfway through your dreams. So you learned, if I want it done right, I'll do it alone. But that mindset, once a survival strategy, has now become your spiritual prison. Today, the universe asks something that might feel foreign to you. Receive. This isn't about dependence. It's about alignment. Because power in this new reality isn't about how much weight you can lift by yourself. It's about how much energy you can direct. And to direct energy, you must be willing to open space. To make room. To allow others in, not to save you, but to support the world you're building. Capricorn, you've paid your dues. You've proven your discipline. You've passed every test of endurance the cosmos has thrown at you. But now, you're not being tested for strength. You're being tested for receptivity. Will you allow help to arrive, even if it doesn't look like what you expected? Because here's how the universe works now. Support won't always come in the form of someone saying, "I'm here for you." It might come as a passing conversation, an unexpected phone call, a tiny offer that seems irrelevant, but will save you hours of effort. You must train your perception to see divine assistance hidden in ordinary moments. So today, your ritual is simple but sacred. Ask for help. Once. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be asking someone to explain something small, to hold a space for you, to give 5 minutes of their time. Not because you can't do it yourself, but because you're signaling to the universe, "I am ready to receive." You're not proving your independence anymore. You're stepping into energetic mastery, and mastery includes delegation, discernment, openness. You are no longer the builder in the mud. You are the architect. And architects don't lift every stone, they direct. Here's the truth. Your next level of greatness doesn't arrive through more isolation. It arrives through connection. And when you break the pattern of silence, you break open the dam of support that has been waiting to flood into your life for years. Life lesson from part 2. You spent years proving you could do it all alone. But true strength is knowing when to let someone in, not because you need them, but because the future you're building deserves more than just your 2 hands. Part 3, Tuesday, the Sword of Decisiveness. Capricorn, today is not a day for strategy. It is not a day for weighing pros and cons, or making perfectly calculated moves. Today is about movement. Fast, clear, unapologetic. You are entering a frequency where decisions shape reality faster than plans ever could. And here's what most people won't understand, but you will. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. You've spent a lifetime thinking things through, planning every step. It's made you reliable, respected, unshakable. But it's also slowed down your destiny. Because while others acted quickly and failed forward, you often delayed your rise, waiting for the moment when every variable aligned. Capricorn, you must understand this clearly now. That perfect moment you've been waiting for, it does not exist. And it never did. Today is about slicing through the fog. You'll feel it as an inner tension, a rising pressure that says, "I've waited long enough." That pressure is not anxiety. It's your soul pushing you to finally make a move. One move. Not a dozen. Not chaos. Just one clean action that breaks the paralysis. Maybe it's the call you've been avoiding, the email you haven't sent, the decision you've been postponing for fear of getting it wrong. Whatever it is, make it today. Make it now. Because this action isn't just about what it achieves. It's about what it breaks inside you. The chain between intention and delay. Capricorn, you are the most grounded sign in the zodiac. But sometimes, even you can forget that ground becomes quicksand. When you refuse to move, your knowledge is no longer the tool. Your speed is. Today, the universe doesn't ask, "Do you know what to do?" It asks, "Can you do it before the doubt returns?" So here's your ritual today. Take one decision you've been sitting on. It doesn't have to be grand, but it must feel like something you've delayed out of fear or discomfort. Act on it. Within the next hour. No overthinking. No second guessing. That act will become a signal. A message sent to the fabric of reality. I am no longer negotiating with fear. And reality will answer. You're not the one standing at the edge anymore. You are the one the edge moves away from. But only when you leap. Life lesson from part 3. If you wait until you're fully ready, you'll wait forever. The future doesn't belong to those who calculate every angle, it belongs to those who dare to act while the window is still open. Part 4, Wednesday. Money is now a mirror, not a reward. Capricorn, for most of your life, you've been taught that money comes after suffering. that it's a prize, something you earn by proving your worth through effort, endurance, and years of silent work. You know what it feels like to wait for the deposit after the labor, to hold your breath hoping that what you gave was enough. But that old model, that belief system, is now dead. It expired the moment you crossed into this new cycle of power. Today, money stops being a reward. It becomes a mirror. And mirrors don't care what you've been through. They reflect who you are right now. This is where many Capricorns hesitate. Because you've been conditioned to see value as something you earn, not something you embody. But in this new field of energy, value is attracted, not chased. And wealth isn't something you dig for. It's something that flows to the clearest channel. You are that channel now. If you believe it. Capricorn, the universe is no longer paying you for how many hours you work. It is investing in how clearly you carry a vision. It's responding to how confidently you hold your lane. Today is not about budgeting. It's about receiving. And not just cash, but confirmation. Confirmation that the scarcity you've lived through was part of your training, not your identity. So pay attention to the subtle ways money energy shows up today. An old debt suddenly repaid. A raise or job offer that feels too good to be true. An unexpected discount, a refund, a solution that saves you more than you knew you were losing. Or maybe just the feeling that money is lighter in your system, that it doesn't grip your chest the way it used to. That's not wishful thinking. That's your frequency rising. Here's your ritual today. Buy something you once believed you couldn't afford. Not out of recklessness, but as a symbolic declaration. A luxury coffee. A single, well-made item. A service you've denied yourself because it felt too indulgent. The point is not the item. It's the signal you send. I no longer operate under the code of survival. I operate under the law of flow. This act is not about spending. It's about creating energetic room for more to come. Because wealth isn't waiting for you to work harder. It's waiting for you to accept that you are now a vessel, not a beggar. Life lesson from part 4. Money doesn't come to those who suffer the most, it comes to those who are most aligned. The moment you stop chasing it like a reward and start receiving it like a mirror, it starts showing up everywhere. Part 5, Thursday, Rewriting Relationships with Grace. Capricorn, you've always been the strong one. The dependable one. The one others lean on, but rarely lean toward. You've built your walls not out of pride, but out of protection. Because when you gave your heart, it wasn't always held with care. And when you needed support the most, silence answered you back. So, over time, you made a vow, maybe not aloud, but deep within. I'll carry myself. And you have. But today, the energy shifts. And the universe is no longer asking you to carry. It's asking you to connect. This is the moment you begin rewriting the contracts you've held with others. Not in a dramatic confrontation. Not through painful confession. But through one simple act, seeing them differently. Because what if the resistance in your relationships wasn't about them, but about the frequency you were unconsciously radiating? What if you've been so focused on protecting your heart that no one could find the door to knock on? Today is not about fixing relationships. It's about reframing them. You're no longer required to negotiate with chaos. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to stabilize energy just by walking into a room. And that begins when you stop responding from the wounds of your past and start reflecting back the strength you've gained through healing. So here's your ritual today. Find someone in your life. Someone where tension exists. Maybe it's subtle. Maybe it's heavy. And instead of confronting them or dissecting the story, acknowledge one true strength they carry. It can be small. It can be simple. Say it aloud if possible or in writing. But say it with truth. Not to flatter. Not to manipulate. But to reprogram the energetic bond between you. Because when you shine a light on the part of someone that is whole, you begin attracting their higher self, not their shadow. And in return, they begin relating to your higher self, too. Capricorn, this is how real leadership works. Not by domination, but by vibration. You're not here to control people. You're here to recalibrate them. And the more you do that, the more the right people will rise toward you, while the wrong ones quietly fall away. Life lesson from part 5. Healing doesn't always mean going back and fixing what broke. Sometimes, it simply means choosing to see the best in others, not for them, but for your own freedom. When you stop defending your walls, you start building bridges without even trying. Part 6, Friday. Genius will visit you if you dare to be absurd. Capricorn, your mind is a fortress. Disciplined, structured, sharpened by time and tested through hardship. You've been taught to trust logic, to trust method, to trust only what can be planned, predicted, and proven. And because of that, you've built a life of stability. But sometimes, stability becomes a cage. Today, the universe is not looking for your logic. It's not asking for your strategies. It's asking for your surrender to inspiration. The kind of inspiration that doesn't come from data, but from something far deeper and far stranger. You see, genius never knocks politely. It crashes in through the side door when you're not looking. It comes disguised as nonsense, as a wild idea, as a daydream you almost dismissed. And if you reject it too quickly because it doesn't fit your model of sense, you close the very portal that was designed to change your life. Capricorn, today is your challenge. Dare to be absurd. Let go of the polished plan. Open the windows of your mind and let the wind in. Because what's coming through isn't madness. It's magic disguised as madness. And only those who trust it will shape what's next. Here's your ritual today. Take one problem you've been struggling with, any size, and set a timer for 15 minutes. In that window, write 20 possible solutions. No filtering, no logic, no editing. Let it be wild. Let it be ridiculous. Write. Paint the house upside down. Ask a tree what it would do. Send a letter to my future self. None of it has to make sense. But within those 20, one will carry the seed of genius. Capricorn, your brilliance doesn't just come from discipline. It comes from breaking pattern. Because the next version of your success can't be reached by the old roads. You must carve a new one with tools that don't exist yet. That means trusting thoughts that don't fit the mold. Saying yes to ideas that come with no blueprint. And believing that the irrational might be the only rational thing left. This is the moment you stop being just a builder of systems and become a channel of vision. Let go of being right and let something greater speak through you. Life lesson from part 6. Genius doesn't visit the minds that are always right, it visits the ones that are willing to be wrong long enough to see something new. When you dare to be absurd, you give life permission to show you what's possible beyond reason. Part 7, Saturday. Strategic stillness as a weapon of kings. Capricorn, you've been trained to keep moving. When things go wrong, work harder. When answers don't come, push through. When energy dips, force the engine back on. That mindset built your resilience. It gave you grit. But today, the universe delivers a different message. Stop. Not because you're weak, but because stillness is now your greatest act of power. You see, Capricorn, even kings rest, not because they are lazy, but because they know. A sword can only remain sharp if it returns to its sheath. You are that sword. And this is your sheath. Today, everything in your energy field says, just one more thing. Don't fall behind. Be productive, or you'll lose momentum. But what if I told you that exact pressure you feel is the final test of whether you are still a servant to survival, or now a master of your own energy? Because in this new version of reality, rest is not a break. Rest is a command. It tells the universe, I trust the power I've already initiated. I don't need to force the bloom. I know the seed is planted. Capricorn, today you do not chase. You do not fix. You do not improve. You allow. You breathe. You let the energy you've summoned all week settle into your system. Not as a possibility, but as a new normal. Here's your ritual. Set aside 1 full hour. No phone. No books. No productivity podcasts. No goals. Sit. Lie down. Walk without purpose. Stare out the window. But do nothing that feeds the engine of achievement. Just exist with awareness. Not because you're tired, but because you're wise. Not because you're giving up, but because you're locking in. And here's what will happen if you honor this. Suddenly, things will start moving without you moving them. Answers will arrive. Energy will return. Opportunities will knock quietly, almost shyly, waiting to be received. Because stillness, for the spiritually trained, is not inactivity. It's magnetism. You're no longer the worker in the system. You are the system. And systems don't chase. They attract. Life lesson from Part 7. Real power is not proven in motion, it's revealed in stillness. When you stop chasing and start trusting, the world begins to move toward you instead of away from you. Part 8, Sunday. The test of synchronicity, miracles in small moments. Capricorn, the universe rarely knocks with thunder. It whispers. It places signs along your path that can only be heard if your soul has become still enough to notice. Today is not about grand victories or massive revelations. It's about something more subtle and in many ways, more powerful. Synchronicity. The divine wink. The echo of your own thoughts reflected in the world around you. The seemingly meaningless moment that, if you're paying attention, tells you you're in alignment. Capricorn, today is your final test before the threshold. Not of strength, not of action, but of awareness. Because the most powerful transformation doesn't come in the earthquake. It comes in the tiny tremor before it. You may think of someone from your past, and seconds later they appear in your feed. You may ask a silent question, and the answer is spoken by a stranger walking by. You may feel a deep emotion, and the weather shifts to match it, sun breaking through at the exact right moment. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. But here's the catch. Only those who trust the small receive the great. Today, the universe is not teaching you how to wish. It's teaching you how to listen. It's showing you that reality is no longer separate from you. It's mirroring you, moment by moment. And the clearer your field becomes, the more perfectly it reflects your desires, not in theory, but in real time. Here is your ritual today. Make a small, light-hearted wish. Nothing emotionally charged. Nothing dramatic. Just a simple declaration of intention. I want to see a red balloon. Let me hear the word ocean today. I want someone to smile at me unexpectedly. Say it once. Then let it go. Don't chase it. Don't obsess over it. Forget it. And then simply move through your day. Let the universe deliver. And when it does, because it will, don't overthink. Just smile and say, I hear you. Capricorn, you're being trained in spiritual precision. The kind that shapes timelines, calls in abundance, and bends opportunity toward you. But before you command empires, you must first learn how to command a feather. And watch it land exactly where you said it would. Life lesson from Part 8. If you cannot honor the small signs, you will miss the miracles. Life speaks in whispers before it ever dares to roar. Learn to listen closely, and the universe will never stop speaking to you. Part 9. The arrival of the throne, when your order becomes reality. Capricorn, the entire week has been a preparation not for more waiting, but for a single moment. When the reality you commanded finally arrives. And here's the twist no one told you. It never comes dressed in gold. It doesn't arrive with trumpets or fireworks. It arrives, quietly, ordinary on the outside, but undeniable to the part of you that has trained for this exact moment your entire life. A call, a message, an offer, a door that opens so easily, it almost feels suspicious. It will feel too smooth, too aligned, too perfect. Your old mind, shaped by struggle, will panic. This must be a trap. But it's not. It's the delivery of everything you declared when you first said, I'm ready. The throne never begs. It arrives when you become still enough to receive it, and brave enough to accept it without guilt. This is the moment most people fail. Not because they're weak, but because they never learned how to say yes to what they secretly dreamed of. You've suffered. You've endured. You've prepared. Now you must do the hardest thing of all. Believe that it's truly yours. And step into it without apology. Here's the deeper mystery. This opportunity won't just test your worth. It will test every single lesson you've learned this week. Will you accept help, like you did Monday, even if it comes from someone you once viewed as competition? Will you act quickly, like you did Tuesday, without overanalyzing? Will you name your value, like you did Wednesday, or will you shrink your worth out of habit? Will you relate from your highest self, like Thursday, even if others haven't caught up? Will you trust a crazy idea, like Friday, that might be the only thing that works? Will you pause when it feels urgent, like Saturday, and let the throne come to you? Will you notice the signs, like Sunday, that prove it's here? This moment is not a reward. It is the mirror of your readiness. Capricorn, you are not just stepping into a new chapter. You are stepping into a new role. The worker becomes the ruler. The loyal soldier becomes the commander. The architect becomes the king. But don't expect applause. What you're stepping into now is too sacred for the crowd. Instead, you'll hear something deeper than noise. You'll feel the silence of those who doubted you with nothing left to say. Not because you proved them wrong, but because they now see you were never meant to live by their rules to begin with. So here's your action today. When the offer comes, whether big or small, say yes. Not because it's perfect. Not because you're 100% certain. But because you no longer believe in the version of reality where you say no to your own power. This is not the end of the journey. It's the activation of everything you were destined for. Life lesson from part 9. The moment you've been preparing for never feels like a climax, it feels like calm. Because when destiny finally arrives, your soul isn't surprised. It's simply ready. And now, so are you. Conclusion, the silent crown, the final test, and the oath of Capricorn. Capricorn, you've crossed the threshold. Not with noise, not with fanfare, but with something far more powerful. Awareness. This week wasn't just a cycle. It was a ceremony. One only you were spiritually mature enough to complete. You didn't ask for permission. You didn't demand attention. You simply kept showing up with quiet fire and steady will. And now, you don't just wear a crown. You've become the crown. But there's one final truth you must understand. Ruling is not about control. It's about responsibility. You are no longer fighting for a seat at the table. You are now responsible for the world that table influences. Every word you speak from here on creates ripples. Every yes, every silence, every boundary you enforce with calm confidence. It all becomes law in the realm you now govern. The greatest test ahead will not be about whether others follow you. It will be about whether you can follow your own wisdom. Even when no one claps. Even when doubt returns. Even when the old world knocks, asking you to play small again. That's the real battle. And Capricorn, you've already won it in your spirit. So now, all that's left is your oath. An inner commitment. Not to the world, but to the version of yourself who waited patiently. Through every delay, disappointment, and night no one saw. Say it aloud. Say it in writing. Say it as a declaration to the invisible forces now orbiting your every step. I accept my destiny. That's it. Simple. Unshakable. Final. Because the old world is gone. And the one that begins now? It bears your name. Life lesson from the conclusion. Your life didn't change when others believed in you. It changed the moment you believed in yourself enough to stop explaining, stop shrinking, and start becoming. This is not the rise of a star. This is the return of the one who always carried the light. Final call to action. If this message found you, it's because you were never meant to live by the old laws. You were meant to write new ones. So if you're ready to rule with wisdom, not noise, subscribe to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. And let the universe send you the messages it's been saving just for you.